Let's be honest. You can't see him. Not with your own eyes, anyway. There's no throne sitting in Jerusalem, no earthly crown made of gold. And yet, the central claim of Scripture, the very heart of it, insists on a reality that's just behind the veil, a kingdom that is already here. And that brings us right to the core question, doesn't it? It's the paradox we all feel in our bones. If Christ is really enthroned as king, why do wars still explode across our screens? Why does it feel like evil is on the rise? And why do the proud seem to rule the nations? It can feel like heaven is just silent. But the story the Bible tells is so much deeper. The story starts not with what we can see, but with this foundational, almost shocking claim about an unseen king and a reign that, well, it's already begun. Now, what's really fascinating is how Scripture talks about this. It doesn't say there will be a man on the throne one day. It says there is a man on the throne of the entire universe. And that's the whole point. This isn't just some future hope we cling to. The claim is that it's a present reality. Not someday, now. But, this powerful theological truth creates this deep, undeniable tension with what our daily headlines and even our own eyes are telling us. And that's the great contradiction we live in. On one side, you have the declaration of Scripture. A man reigns with all authority. Heaven itself declares he is king. And on the other side, well, you have our lived experience. Wars raging, evil rising, the proud seeming to hold all the power. And we are living right in the middle of that tension. So how do we even begin to resolve this? Well, the absolute key, is understanding that this is a reign that has already begun. It was a hidden coronation that took place long before any of us were here. Centuries before the cross, this ancient prophecy from Psalm 110 was echoing through time, an invitation for a king to come and sit right beside God himself. This wasn't just symbolic language. This was about shared rule, shared authority, a shared throne. But the question was always, when? When would this happen? And the answer just reframes everything we think we know. The cross, that wasn't just a brutal sacrifice, it was an enthronement through sacrifice. The resurrection wasn't the end of Jesus' mission. It was the beginning of his enthronement. And his ascension into heaven, that wasn't a departure. It was a coronation. The New Testament is so explicit about this. In Ephesians, it says Christ is seated, present tense, far above all rule and authority. You see that? Not will be, but is, already, right now. So, okay, let's just try for a second to imagine what Scripture says is happening right now, just beyond what we can see, in what you could call the control room of the universe. The book of Revelation, it paints this incredible picture of a throne room that's beyond the scale of galaxies. There's lightning, thunder, these fiery living creatures. And right there, at the absolute center of it all, is a lamb that looks as though it had been slain, yet is radiantly, powerfully alive. You see, heaven isn't waiting for Christ to become king. Heaven is declaring he already is. So that brings us to the very nature of this kingdom, and how we get from a reality that's hidden from our eyes to one that will, one day, be fully and completely revealed. And this is maybe the most important part to get our heads around. How do we define this reign? It's not the absence of evil, but sovereignty over evil. It isn't the denial of suffering, but authority within suffering. His kingdom is present long before it is fully visible, kind of like a seed that's alive and growing in the ground that, from the surface, still just looks barren. This idea from the book of Hebrews just perfectly captures the tension that we're all living in. He is already crowned, but his reign is not yet fully revealed to the world. And that changes everything, because it means the greatest enemy Christ came to subdue first wasn't some empire or a foreign nation, it was the human heart. The true throne he came to claim, first and foremost, is the one inside each of us. It's really a rescue plan that started at creation. Humanity was made for God's kingdom, to live in communion and life with him. But we chose self-rule, and self-rule always leads to fracture and isolation. So the King of Heaven entered our world, not to condemn it, but to rescue it. And so the invitation, it's not forced, it's not coerced, it's offered. The very same king who reigns, unseen over all of history and all of time, offers to reign within you. He's offering forgiveness and restoration and life.
Which, of course, brings us all the way back to our own moment in history. Where does this ancient story, this present tense reality, where does it actually leave us today?
It leaves us in the exact same place every generation of believers has stood, in the space between the already crowned Christ and the one day returning Christ, between the unseen kingdom that is here right now and the day it will finally be revealed for all to see. So, when you strip it all away, what is the single greatest truth in the universe right now? It's not that nations are rising or that history is trembling. It's this: Jesus Christ is already Lord, unseen, uncontested in heaven, and one day seen by all.